show you how to do a table. So first I have table. Now you can specify whether you want the table to have a border or not. So let's say I removed my border. You can see there's no border in my table, but I want a border, so I'm going to put it back, undoing here. So now I have a border. Now you you might sometimes tables you have a top row that is a header row, and in that case it's better rather than just use treating it as a regular row. You can treat it as a header row, and this is much better later when we learn about CSS and you want to style it, or even now it bolds it. But it's much better to do that if you have a header row because there's many times where you want that top row to look different than all the other rows. So since I do have a top row here, I call that key head. Oh, I just skipped one thing, caption. So the caption will go next if you have a caption. So sometimes you want a table to have a caption. I called mine Adler schedule. Let's see here, Adler schedule. Is that better? Okay, so that's my caption. It's optional. Again, you may not have if you don't have a header row, that's fine, but usually you do, and if you do, it's good to put that in the head tag. We have the T head tags. Now TR stands for the row. So in the in the head, I have one row. You can see my one row, that's the heading. Um, and here, this is all my heading, kind of, I guess, the columns, or the cell is better. Each cell that's in the first row. So each cell, the first cell, I have nothing because that corner is empty. Then I have my schedule. Okay, so now this will give me everything in the T head. It's one row in my T head. This row has an empty column, an empty cell, another empty, and then the next cell has 925, 1040, 1050 to 1205. Okay, now the T body is everything that's in the body of the table. And here I have a lot of rows. How many rows do I have? I have 4 rows. The TR, you can see this is the first row. This is my second row. This is my third row, and this is my fourth row. So each row gets surrounded by TR tags. And again, each cell in the row is going to be, each cell in the row is going to be with TD. So here you have TH for the header, but here you have TD, which is the table data. So the data in it is the first column is going to be Monday. The first cell is going to be Monday. The second one is research group. Now, what does col span equals 2 mean? Well, you can see my research group in this case takes up 2 columns. So that's why I can set the col span to 2, and here I can take up 2 columns. So you can do that too, it's optional. And then I left the other one empty. The next row on Tuesday, everything is the same except I put my office hours as col span equals 2. Now, I think this is the table from last semester, so don't try to find me on these office hours or the schedule. This is an old schedule. Okay, now the CSS club events, 305 to 405. Okay, now let's go to the next row, Wednesday. Now the only interesting thing is what's row span equals 2. Before we said col span is equal to 2. So when col span equals 2, it takes up 2 columns. When row span is equal to 2, it takes up 2 rows. So you can see the word meeting takes up 2 rows. So here it's going to take up, we're going to be taking up the cell, but we're going to be taking up the bottom too, just like column went across column. This is going to go across rows. So column takes up 2 columns, this goes on 2 rows. So in Thursday, while normally we have 5, so here, Thursday, we have Thursday, CS 300, 200, office hours, CS 100. We don't have to specify the last column because normally there's 6 columns specified, and here we don't have to specify the last one because we had already done row span is equal to 2 here with 300, 200, office hours, 100, and then we don't have to specify meeting. It was already done before. We close our row, we close the T body, and we close the whole table. So remember, inside the table, we have the T head and the T body. The T head is if you have a header row, and we specified that here. And then inside body, the main part is the T body, and you have the TR, and each TR is for each row, and then we have the table data in each row.